Hi guys, so this is a bit of an unedited video from me this morning. Quite conscious that, a lot of my subscribers, and thank you all for obviously sticking with me through this, but a lot of my subscribers have mentioned to me that I'm not putting out enough video content, which I fully understand. I'm not. This journey for me initially back in June when I went live with my channel was to document this crazy move of mine that I made, gave myself, just over 8 weeks to get out of a rented house and to move into a van and live on an off-grid site. It was more of a documenting my journey for me to look back on, and I never in a million years thought that I would have a community that would get involved with what I'm doing, who actually gave a shit about what I'm doing. I didn't think my little life was that interesting. I didn't think anybody would want to see what was going on, so it was more of a case of let's document this journey. I mean, yes, I haven't been posting as religiously as what I would have liked, but unfortunately, guys, work and family and, doing other things with my life have kind of taken over with my YouTube. Now, as I say, I'm not somebody who set out to monetize my channel. I'm not somebody who set out for a large following or, that wasn't the purpose of me doing this. If I monetize, happy days. It will give me more time, possibly, and more freedom to make these kind of videos. But with the working full time, I'm often doing 60 to 70 hour working weeks. I drive a lot as well, up and down the country to see engineers at different projects and different sites. So for me, my life is not in one place all of the time. And, when I'm getting home late, sort of 8 o'clock in the evening, then I've got to go out and have a shower at the swimming pool. Then I've got to cook my dinner. By that time it's getting late and I'm knackered, and I'm thinking nobody wants to listen to me ranting about the day I've had, or I just don't feel that kind of content is the most valuable. I guess it might be nice for you guys to perhaps see a different side of me and my life and what I'm doing, but being totally honest with you guys, time has probably been my biggest factor in not being so present on here now. And like I said, I didn't realize that my little channel would take off. I didn't think I would even end up with 10 subscribers in the early days, and now I'm sitting, I think, at 119 at last count, which, yes, it's small compared to a lot of other channels, but as I say, guys, I'm not in it for the recognition and being YouTube famous or whatever. That's not who I am as a person, and I very much struggle with being vulnerable, particularly when you're putting yourself out on socials. You leave yourself open to criticism, judgment, and I've had some of that already. Some of it, most of it has been brilliant, and you guys have been bloody brilliant, and I couldn't have asked for a better community. And there has been some negative comments and emails that I've received, and I just think these people are taking the time out of their life to make a comment on my life. Yes, I'm putting myself in the public forum, but it's like that old saying, if you've got nothing nice to say, just scroll on, just don't say anything. And I think one thing I realised when I started this is that people were paying attention to what I was doing, and people seemed genuinely curious. And I've had emails asking for help in various areas, what I would do in certain situations. And that's been brilliant. That's given me that sense of community that I didn't realise I needed. But on the other hand, there's the negativity, there's the trolls, there's the people who have always got something negative to say. There's one person in particular who keeps disliking everything I'm putting up on socials, and I'm thinking, why are you following me if you've got nothing good to say, or you don't like anything I'm doing? Why consume yourself with that, telling me how shit I am and how bad you think my life is, So yeah, if you're watching, just know that I'm not listening to anything you have to say, mate. Your negativity, it sucks. And now this journey has become a little bit more important to me. Like, I'm not just documenting what I'm doing, I feel like I'm inspiring other people as well. And that's kind of become part of my mission as well now, is to inspire others, particularly, women of a certain age in their 40s like me, where you've brought kids up and, you're working, you're on your own, got to be more to life out there. You're fed up with this system and what, you know, all of that entails. And, you know, it only takes having to turn on the news in the UK this week and you can see all the doom and gloom and the shit that's going on with the digital IDs and the multiple killings. And, you know, it's depressing. And this is, for me, part of the reason why I've moved out of the system as much as I can. Obviously, I'm still working and paying taxes into the system, but I'm not paying council tax, I'm not paying rent, I'm not paying utility bills, you know, none of that. So already I am £2,000 up every month, which has been great. You know, I've paid off my credit card debts or made a good chunk in them, which obviously before I moved, I put a lot of the van purchases on credit cards and loans and, you know, buy now, pay laters. And it's taken me 2 months to pay back a good chunk of that. So I'm starting to see the rewards now, guys, of this move. But equally, on the other hand, it's not all romantic and, you know, fairy lights and candles at night. It's very much dark. I'm in a half-built van, you know, I'm on my own in the middle of the woods, and your mind starts cutting in and talking to you and playing tricks on you. And my depression has reared its head up again, guys. You know, I'm someone who uses humour very much to deflect how I'm feeling. You wouldn't know I'm depressed a lot of the time. You know, I'm someone who can come in and put the brave face on. I go into work and I can separate what's going on in my head with my work. And I guess probably that's why I've always been known as a strong one, because I don't show vulnerability and I don't show how I'm feeling. So this is just me putting it out here now, guys, that my mental health has been shit the last few weeks. I've struggled with every element of living off grid. One thing now I can sit here and say is, looking back on the last 3 weeks, those times I felt like giving up, you know, there was times I actually thought, you know, excuse my French on YouTube, but I thought, sod this, I am going to book into an Airbnb, I'm going to just go there, I'm going to have a shower, I'm going to use a washing machine. You know, I felt bad about Ollie. Have I done the right thing? I mean, he's very settled in the van now, guys, but obviously he went missing the other day. And that really shook me up, and I had a lot of negativity over that, about not having a tracker for him and so on, which he's now got. And ironically, he doesn't go any further than 30 metres away from me, as per the last 13 years that I've had him. But, you know, it's one of those things. I'm glad I've got it now. But there's been a lot of negativity around everything I'm doing, guys. And from my family, from people on socials. And I just think, am I doing the right thing here? But one thing I've learned is it's important just to follow your own heart and your own intuition, because it doesn't matter to me what other people think. It doesn't matter to me what they say now. You know, I have let it bother me and I've let it get into my head, but it's stopping now. All right. So just a bit of a message to people out there watching. Just be mindful of what you say to people. You know, treat people how you want to be treated yourself, because some of these words stick with people and they bloody hurt. You know, there's people just trying to make the best out of their lives and trying to inspire others. I'm not saying I've got the right solutions and the right answers to all the questions that, you know, you guys might have around van builds and everything else. I'm not saying my way is the only way to do it. I'm just showing you my journey and how I'm doing it, and how very much it's a learning curve for me. And I make mistakes. I have doubts. I have wobbles. But just be careful of how you talk to people, guys. It takes nothing to be kind to one another. You know, this is something humanity is very much lacking at the moment, is empathy for your fellow human and just kindness. Costs nothing. So, yeah, so to the guys out there who've been negative, you know who you are. I would respectfully ask, if you've got nothing nice to say, please move on, all right? Because this is a space, this is a community where I want supportive people. I want to be able to support others, and I want people to support me. I don't need negativity, and if that's your style, please just move on, guys, because I don't need that, and I will block anybody now going forwards. Now, to those of you who have been absolute legends, again, you know who you are. Shout out to Paul Edwards in particular, and Holden Man. You guys have been my biggest supporters from day one, so big shout out to you. You know, we've had some good conversations. You guys have given me a wobble of my head every now and again when I'm doubting myself, and you've helped me more than you know it. And you know, that goes to the rest of the community as well. Generally, everybody has been really positive, so thank you very much, and know that I appreciate all of you, and you've all kept me going on darker days. Now, I think a lot of my past traumas and everything have come up recently. I I thought I'd processed all of them, but I think very much being on your own in a van at night, in a 4 walls, small space, you're very much confronted with your own humanity and your own bullshit. And some of the things I thought I dealt with, I clearly haven't, because they kept coming up. My intrusive thoughts kept coming in. I spent last weekend in bed, just didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to post on socials. I didn't have, in my mind, anything worthy of saying to anybody, and I didn't think anybody would listen. And this was my negativity and allowing the negative people and thoughts to intrude in my mind and my headspace. So I'm trying, guys, to push forward. Typically, I hate this time of year. I'm forcing myself out of bed in the mornings to get that daylight on my face straight away. Whether it's pissing down with rain, whether it's sunny, I'm doing it. Just get up and get out. Here he is. The little bugger. Yeah, so I'm sorry I've been a bit MIA, guys. Time is my biggest factor. I can see why people get paid to do YouTube now, because it is time consuming. I used to think that was a bit of a gimmick and it was an easy way to make money and people were just doing it because they couldn't do a normal job, or, do you know what I mean? That was my thoughts. But I can actually see now that the editing, you know, the content creation, it all takes time. So hence why I've just thought I'll post this unedited video of me talking this morning just about where I'm at and what's going on. So let's talk van. Now, at the moment, I've got my electrics in the corner. This is a temporary setup here, guys. This was never how it was going to be. Well, it kind of was. It was going to be my rear wet room service cupboard, and I was going to have the wet room at the end of this temporary wardrobe here going across to this space. But now I've decided I'm going to have the full width of the van as a wet room. Now, in this corner here, I'm going to have a vanity sink, and I'm going to have a pull-out toilet and a mini pull-out washing machine. It's only a small double tub washing machine. Just, you know, it runs, I think it's a 3.5 kilogram one or something, and it works with the battery setup I've got. Now, the battery itself is going to be moved into this corner here. I'm going to get the double passenger seat out. Battery is going to sit around here somewhere. Obviously, it can't block the window. And then I'm going to have my electric cupboard in the front, and obviously a walk through so I can get through to the cab eventually. It's going to be partitioned off with a sliding pocket door or something there. So electrics is going to be contained at the front of the van, which then frees up this space at the back. And there's Ollie scoffing food as always. So all of that's going to move. It's going to be in its own cupboard. Inverter is going to go in. I haven't obviously got that fitted yet. That's still on the floor. I haven't needed it yet, guys, really. There's been the odd time I could have possibly done with it for charging tools, but I've managed to deal with that on site and so on, you know, jobs I've been on. But yeah, anyway, waffling on. So that's that. So I'm going to start off with, I think, getting the wet room sorted, because this going out for showers every night, having to pack the van up, take Ollie in a cat carrier, it's becoming tiresome. It's taken 2 hours in an evening to do it. So, you know, an hour to pack up, hour to unpack, get Ollie sorted, upheave him. So that's becoming really, really a pain in the butt. It's not anything life-threatening or, you know, dodgy, but it's a real problem for me at the moment, because I just don't have my evenings because of it. So I'm not feeling like I'm relaxing after work. I'm feeling like I'm just constantly running around and not getting a break. So that's not what off-grid life is about for me. Now, some of you might come at me and say, well, being off-grid means you don't have everything in your van, etc., etc. You should be living off the land, you know, burying your business in a hole in the ground and this, that and the other. Yeah, I fully agree with what a lot of you are saying. But in my eyes, I'm living off-grid. I'm on a field basically surrounded by woods and a river with no electric, no lights, no water, nothing for me. So I have had to manage this on my own. All right, so for me, I'm off grid. I'm not reliant on the mains electric. I'm not reliant on mains water. You know, I'm doing it myself. So yeah, so anyway, guys, I'm going to start with the wet room. And my plan for the wet room is to partition this area off here. So it's going to be a partition wall. And now I've seen some boards. They're called Wedi, I think you pronounce it, or Wedi, W-E-D-I, Wedi boards. And it's got a linear drain in it. So what I'm planning on doing is taking out the flooring now. This was always a temporary sort of floor anyway as I was moving. That's coming out. And this Wedi board is XPS foam and it's waterproof. And I'm going to fit that. So my floor is going to be lowered slightly for the wet room so we can just walk into it. from the living space. And then I'm going to tank around that weddy board and create plastic bathroom panels all around to give me a fully contained wet room. And then obviously the vanity sink will be at this area with a mirror, a couple of overhead cupboards, perhaps pull out toilet, but you're literally going to have a full space wet room. And I'm also going to incorporate like drying rack in there, or some sort of washing line pull out one, so I can use that as a laundry room. I'm going to duct some air in there from my diesel heater, and that's going to give me full capability of a laundry room and a wet room stroke vanity. You know, I'm going to have a pull out seat on the wall, or a fold down seat, so I can use it also as like a vanity area. You know, I very rarely wear makeup, guys, as you've probably seen, but there are times when I do go out socializing and I do see friends, and I do make myself look a bit more presentable. So, you know, that to me is a combined area for me. Now, some might say, well, that's a little bit over the top, you're living in a van. My vision for this van is to be comfortable for me. Okay, this van has been designed for me. It's not been sold, or it's not been designed for resale or anything else. It's for me, and it's how I need it to work for me. Now, living in it now for, God, how long have I been in now? 2 months. It's given me perspective as to how I want things to go. So I personally think moving in like this has probably been the best thing for me, because I can see what I need, how I need it, where I need things to be, what height I need things, you know, even like having a little rest to put a cup on when you're sitting down, just an armrest, you know, rather than having to get up and put things over on the surface. You know, watching a film, you don't want to be getting up and, you know, do you know what I mean? So I've realised having little nooks and crannies everywhere is going to be important to me. Now I'm still going with the lift up bed idea. I hummed and hawed with that because I've got this skylight, and obviously having the bed when it's in the up position is going to make me lose the skylight in the day. Now, the skylight had to go there because it was the only place in the van it could go. I originally wanted it fitted lengthways down the van, but obviously with these beams I couldn't do it. I was told it eats into the structure and it wouldn't pass the MOT and blah 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 blah. So anyway, I went against that idea, which was really frustrating, because I wanted it a little bit further along, like in my kitchen galleyway and so on. But anyhow, that is what it is. So yeah, so the bed's going to be a lift up still. I'm going to have L-shaped bench seating underneath that. Now, some people have said to me, but you're in a medium roof van, Sarah, you know, that the bed's going to look ridiculous. I don't think it will. Remember, guys, I'm 5'5". I've still got, oh God, what, a good 5 inches above my head in this van, good 5-6 inches. So that's when I'm standing. So I am going to go for a lift up bed. And also what I'm going to do in that area there where the battery's going behind, where the double passenger seat currently is, the double passenger seat's coming out and there's going to be a battery cupboard there. But I'm also going to put my driver's seat on a swivel so I can then spin that round and work in that area as an office space when I'm working from home, which keeps the rest of my van separate. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to have a galley style kitchen possibly, or I'm still debating whether to have like an upside down U along this wall here and have my door to the wet room in this corner, and then perhaps like a, you know, an upside down U or a C, whatever you want to call it, here with some sort of partition wall and then a gap to go in. But that's still very much designing process stage at the moment. I have changed this layout so many times, guys, so many times now. But living in the van has given me perspective, so I know what's going to work for me and I know what's important to me. And one thing I've realised, standing up in the mornings, trying to get dressed, trying to do my teeth, stepping over Ollie, it's not ideal. So I need a separate area that I can be in. I can shower, I can move around, I can get dressed, I can brush my teeth, you know, put my deodorant on. I can do what I need to do freely without treading on Ollie, without ending up in some frying pan I've left on the side. So that's the goal. So I need a separate wet room. That works for me personally. It may not work for everybody else, but it works for me and it's what I need. And that's what it's about. It's about personalising your own van to you. You know, I know a lot of people do this to try and sell their vans on, and, you know, well, what about the resale value? This is my home, guys. It's my home on wheels. So it works for me. And I wanted everything to be modular so I could take it out as well if my van ever failed. You know, I've spent a lot of money on equipment in this van, and I want it to be transferable. Or, you know, if I ever do buy land and decide to live off grid, I've got a fully 48 volt setup, you know, that I can transfer into an off-grid cabin. So there's method to my madness, guys. But anyway, I just wanted to drop on and just be honest with you all about what's going on. I've lost my motivation recently, been in a bit of a dark place, and really struggled to pull myself out. Today is the first day I've really felt stronger and better to be able to move forward with this build and not hide in my bed, guys. And any of you that have had depression, you will understand how that feels. I just didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to clean myself. I didn't want to eat. I just wanted to hide. And it's been hard getting up and going to work, dealing with family pressures, trying to build a van while you're living in it in the winter. It's been a nightmare. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening to me waffling on. Next video will be completely different, I promise. I'm going to show you, I've got a lot of footage basically from the moment I moved out of the house back in August, I think it was. I've got all that footage, so I'm going to put that as a bit of my journey to off-grid. Show you sort of some behind the scenes that's been going on. I have been filming, guys, I just haven't uploaded and edited, so I've got to go through all my phone. I've got hundreds of videos that I just need to go through and edit basically. But if you can put up with the unedited for now, happy days, guys. This is kind of why I'm assuming a lot of you have followed me, because I'm not Instagram perfect, I'm not filtered, I'm raw and very, very real. So anyway, Ollie's enjoying life. As you can see, I've got a full bin, I've got a litter tray to empty, I've got to go to the dump and sort my rubbish out. Much love.